Inapaswa nikiondoka watafanya kitu gani? Watamwabudu nani?
Good afternoon. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene Muchuma Odim. On sign language interpretation this afternoon, we have Anne Wangeshi. Let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Our top focus this afternoon is in Parliament, where the debate on affordable housing has begun. In the House, let's cross over and listen in.
There's also building going on in Shaurimoyo.
All right, the affordable housing bill is underway in Parliament for debate, and legislators are debating, raising concerns on what things should be addressed. This as the government says that the country is working on affordable housing projects countrywide. Let's cross over and listen in.
Maybe we'll address that. I know that the issue of Park Road has been lingering. I may not have answers off the top of my head, but I do know there are some of those. But I think we can go and check and have clear answers on what is our understanding. Whatever it is, that the extent to which we have engaged in the matters.
No, we are told the process of converting that land to private met some resistance legally until they had to be handed over to NHC. Just like you had said, NHC handling that process is more easier to them. So we want your understanding of this so that we do not just construct houses and then make people face. You know, some people would want to buy these houses using loans or mortgages. And you know you cannot do that without proper title. So that is something we want to make it clear so that which is the easiest route for those people who want to buy these houses to use. Is it your way of converting land from public to private or handing over to NHC so that NHC has an easier way of dealing with them? That is the opinion we want to seek from you, because we do not want to subject the public to such procedures which will take them ages to clear.
Chair.
Yes.
There is also the question of continuity of government, because this government is very serious on housing, but maybe the next government, and I saw one of the presidential candidates saying you'll repeal if he ever gets to that position. I believe that's why this question is very important. Have we followed the right procedure? Because before we even launch affordable housing in a place, the land issue should already have taken effect. And that's why I'm saying we need a clause on the bill for that. We don't want to be having houses without title deeds. We need a procedure that should be introduced in the bill. And I'm hoping, I'm preempting what you guys should be thinking about, that the land issue should be the first before you even get to levy. And in case a government comes in and decides no more affordable housing, do we start problems again of people who have already even paid for houses? So that is the key issue, Chair.
I think you have understood that.
Yes, I have understood. Yes.
So please.
All right, the National Assembly Committee on Housing getting views in regards to the implementation of the affordable housing project in the country. We have able team on the ground. We'll be getting the details in our subsequent bulletins as the day goes by. Now, in other news, the Council of Governors wants the national government to take over the payment of doctors who go on study leave, arguing that it is becoming financially strenuous for counties. COG Health Committee Chair Mudomi Njuki noted that if the national government takes up the mantle, it will free up the payroll for the recruitment of temporary doctors to fill up the gap. Governor Njuki, who spoke during a donation of midwifery training models by J.H. Piego, added that for universal health coverage to succeed, commitment and human resource capitation are needed by the two levels of government. Consequently, he called on counties to invest in refresher courses for medical staff at all levels to acquaint themselves with modern medicine.
Where you want a doctor who has gone on postgraduates to come to your county and serve for some time, but surely human health cannot wait for these doctors to come back, because life is continuous, and therefore while they are away, we need to take care of the patient. Those resources are not realized because we are paying for doctors who are away.
Tana River residents have urged the government to fast-track the allocation of resources to schools for restoration of infrastructure that was destroyed by floods that recently hit the region. Imani and Galili primary schools are among those where learners have not resumed lessons 5 weeks into the term due to dilapidated infrastructure.
It is 5 weeks into the school term, and pupils in most schools in Tana Delta, Tana River County are still struggling to settle down following the aftermath of the El Nino floods. At least 10 schools that were inundated by floods have been permanently relocated, and they lack infrastructure and learning materials.
Haya madarasa ni matatu na wanafunzi bado wengine hawajapata hayo madarasa. Wengine watoto madarasa matatu yameingia ndani, lakini matatu mengine yako nje, bado wako chini ya mti. Na tunaomba PS kama ingewezekana angetuongezea madarasa kama 4 mengine ambayo watoto wangesoma.
Hawa watoto wanakaa chini. Ile maji ilipokuja iliharibu kila kitu. Madawati yetu yote iko huko. Vitabu vingine vimebaki kule. Vingine vimeharibiwa na maji. Tunaomba serikali pia tusaidiwe hizo madawati na hizo vitabu na sola tuletewe yote hapa.
Education stakeholders now want the government to pump more resources into the area to restore infrastructural requirements in both the old and relocated schools.
So tunaomba tuzidi kusaidiwa kwa wakati, manake saa hii tuko week 5 ya muhula, bado wanafunzi wanahangaika chini. Tafadhali tunaomba serikali waweze kutusaidia kwa wakati unaofaa na sisi tuweze kwenda sawa na muhula, tuweze kumeet our goals za kufundisha kama mashule mengine.
Interior Security and National Administration Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo recently toured the area and assured residents that the government will purchase land to resettle the internally displaced persons so that they do not go back to the flood-prone areas.
Mandera East residents have benefited from free eye medical screening facilitated by the Fred Hollows Foundation. The eye medical camp, dubbed Restoring Eyesight, has brought together a team of specialists and targets 500 area residents. According to Dr. Francis Ocheng, the prevalence of eye infections in the area is due to living conditions and poor hygiene.
Saa hizi tumepata wadaktari mzuri ambayo wakusaidia macho
wale ambao wana pesa, wale ambao wako na pesa. Tumesaidika mzuri sana. Sisi kwa watu wa Kenya tumeshukuru sana.
Tunatarajia kufanya surgeries 300 hivi, na most of the surgeries require cataract. Cataract ndio the commonest cause of avoidable blindness katika duniani. Kuna wale watatibiwa tu, wanapatiwa madawa na kwenda nyumbani. Kuna operations zingine pia tukipata tutayafanya kama ya glaucoma ama ya growths zingine ambazo zinaweza kuwa kwa macho.
In recent years we have noticed an increased burden of eye disease within the county. This is partly because of increase in population and unfavorable climatic conditions. Excessive solar radiation, dust environment, frequent eye trauma among the pastoralist communities often predispose our people to different eye diseases.
Residents in Murua and Kai village in Samburu North constituency are being urged to prioritize seeking medical attention from local health facilities amidst concerns over the widespread use of herbal drugs. Health experts in the region say herbal medicine poses significant health risks due to improper dosage and lack of regulation. The experts are warning that water scarcity has worsened the problem because many residents are drawing it from contaminated sources.
Ya hospitali mara mingi watu wetu wanaamini madawa ya kienyeji, wengine inafanya na umasikini, hawawezi enda hospitali kwa sababu hawana fedha za kulipa maybe ile matibabu ile bili kidogo ya hospitali. Na pia hospitali saa zingine iko mbali, watu wanaishi mbali na dispensary yetu.
Tunahimiza watu wakuja hospitali wakipata magonjwa kama hizo ya kuhara, ya typhoid na zingine mingi ile inasababishwa na ukosefu wa maji. Tunahimiza wakuje hospitali kwa sababu kama hata kuja hospitali ama wakisubaa au wakichelewa kuja hospitali itaweza ongezeka. Unaweza kuta leo diarrhea kidogo, kesho inaongezeka inakuwa kitu kingine, the other one inakuwa kitu kingine, alafu kukupeleka hospitali mpaka referral, county referral ni expensive.
Residents of Bomashoge Chache constituency in Kisii County took to the streets to protest the impassable road in the area linking Nyamansakia to Omosocho. The agitated residents who accused the area member of parliament, Alpha Miruka, of ignoring their appeal for grading of the 6-kilometer road claimed that the current state of affairs is adversely affecting their economic activities.
See how we are suffering down here. We are struggling here. This is a road that has never been made for how long? Will we be waiting for all that? We elected you, we are not forcing you, but we are telling you.
Pata watu wanaenda kufanya maandamano huko, barabara mkiangalia imeharibika, gari zimekwama huko, wa mama wameanguka, wamefunjika miguu. Ndio tunauliza serikali itoa 62 million kwa kila constituency ili sikue za road maintenance.
The county government of Kilifi has commenced the construction of 3 key roads in the region. The county is set to spend some 140 million shillings to construct phase 1 of the Kijiwetanga Jacaranda Road in Ganda Ward, phase 2 of the Goshi Maduguni in Kakukuyuni Ward, and construct Kabro roads at the Marafa Trading Center in Marafa Ward.
Ajali hata za kuaga watoto wao kwa barabara kwa sababu anajifungua dispensary na pengine damu yake iko chini, ni sharti akimbizwe hospitali kuu Malindi, lakini barabara ni mbaya. Utapata kwa barabara mama huyo anazimia, mtoto wake anaaga.
Huku mashamba yako na maji yako, hasa wale ambao wameteremka sasa ni wakulima wa irrigation na wanafanya kazi nzuri, na wao watasaidika kuleta bidhaa zao sokoni, itakuwa hawana shida tena hii barabara ikikamilika.
Ndio waende upande huo. Sasa tunataka kurahisisha, wakitoka Malindi airport wakwenda Watamu, wao wanaweza kupita moja kwa moja. Yote itatembea kwa wakati mmoja. Kwa kawaida contract kama za namna hii huwa ziko na kama miezi 6 ya kufanywa, lakini tulipoongea na mkandarasi na yeye ni mtu ambaye ana ujuzi wa muda mrefu, amekubali na ametuhakikishia kwamba hataki yeye mwenyewe kwenda zaidi ya miezi 3, anataka iwe hii miradi ameikamilisha, amehand over kwa kama ianze kutengenezwa. Mungu siawabariki ndugu zangu na atusaidie.
Isiolo County Senator Fatuma Dulo is calling for equalization in the disbursement of Senate oversight funds to enhance oversight of counties. Speaking in Isiolo, Dulo lamented that 3 million shillings allocated to Isiolo and Lamu counties for 6 months is not sufficient. This being the first year that oversight funds have been disbursed, the highest allocation was 20 million shillings. A case seeking to bring equality on the matter filed by senators from marginalized counties is yet to be determined. A total of 250 million shillings was disbursed to facilitate Senate's oversight role in October 2023.
Isiolo na Lamu tumepata 3 million. Ili hali county kama Nairobi, Kakamega, kwengine wamepata 27 million, 16 million, 10 million, mambo kama haya. Na sisi, kwa mfano mimi na seneta ya Lamu tumeenda kotini kupinga hiyo maneno. Kwa sababu milioni 3 ambaye ni pesa ya mshahara, ni pesa ya operation, ni pesa ya kuzunguka kuangalia mambo ya hizi projects, sio pesa ambaye inaweza kutusaidia. Kutembea mpaka Sericho kwa barabara na kuangalia hizi projects zote itakuwa ni kitu kidogo sana. Haitatuwezesha. So sisi tumeenda kotini, tumepinga haya maneno, lakini tutaona vile uamuzi iko.
The Kajiado County government has been called upon to fast-track its fire disaster management to avert losses occasioned by fire outbreaks. 30 families in Madari village Gong were recently left homeless after a fire razed down their houses. Locals have also urged the county government to equip the youth with fire management skills to enable them respond to incidents of fire outbreaks.
Nazidi kuhimiza serikali yetu ya county waweze kuwa tayari, kwa sababu mambo ya disaster management kwa county waeke mikakati mzuri. Kweli ajali haina kinga, lakini ingekuwa vizuri Ngong iwe na station nzuri ya kupigana na mambo ya moto, kwa sababu haya yanafanyika mara kwa mara, na tusipojitayarisha basi itakuwa tunafanya makosa.
Ile kitu tukipendelea kulingana na vile huu kijiji kimejengwa, singine inakuwa vigumu sana kwa magari ya wazimamaji kufika ndani. Tukipendelea kama tukishikana idara ya county kuhamasisha na kufunza vijana wa hapa jinsi ya kupambana na moto, ili ingiwapo moto tokee wakati wote, vijana hapa wana ujuzi wa kupambana na moto na kuweza kuuzima haraka uwezekanavyo.
Parents in the Kuria region have been warned against inciting violence towards teachers over poor performances in the school. Politicians and education heads from the region are also vowing to ensure stern action is taken against any parents who will subject their school-going children to early marriage.
Weeks after their counterparts in Kakamega were sharply criticized for attacking teachers, parents in Kuria region have been warned to desist from such actions. Speaking during the disbursement of bursaries, Kuria East Member of Parliament Marwa Kitayama urged parents to provide a friendly environment for their children to pursue education.
Kwanza umemtusi vile yeye ni mjinga, hatawahi kuwa kitu, then unamsukuma anaenda shule, kifika pale hata chai ya kunywa, then wewe huyo ndio unamhitaji tena haraka akuje. Yaani umemfanyisha mtoto huyu kazi kibao, alafu mwishoe inaonekana mambo yamekuwa sio mazuri, alafu baadaye mnaanza kusema toa huyo mwalimu hapo.
Meanwhile, parents have also been urged to desist from subjecting their children to early marriage.
Hii tabia ya kuolewa, watoto wanaolewa mapema, hiyo ni changamoto. Napata eti wasee wanapenda kuchukua watoto wa miaka 12. Hiyo ni tabia mbaya. Eti mama unafurahia mtoto anaolewa. Hiyo ni tabia inaharibu watoto wasisome sana. Unajua mtoto mmoja akienda wengine wanaona sasa mimi nisiposoma nitaolewa.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Joseph Wahungu.
All right. Imagine finding yourself drowning in addiction with no one to help you find your way back to sobriety. Here is Joy Joanne with a story about how a single sip of alcohol almost destroyed the life of a middle-aged woman.
Rosemary vividly recounts how her life spiraled out of control, losing personal possessions and relationships to sustain her addiction. Despite the toll it took on her life, she found solace and hope in the Beyond Love Rehabilitation Center in Njoro Sub-County, Nakuru.
Nilikuwa mbaya sana, sikuwa nasikiza wazazi, nilikuwa mtu mbaya, hata society haikuwa inanipenda juu ya maovu yangu.
Through a rigorous 12-step recovery program, Rosemary and 7 other recovered alcoholics, equipped with vocational skills, are now ready to reintegrate into society.
Naweza anzia biashara ya boutique, tena business naweza fanya.
We should admit, and as parents, we should admit there is a problem. We should love those children. We should talk to them.
With over 90 days of sobriety, Rosemary looks forward to rebuilding her life, nurturing her relationships, and pursuing entrepreneurial endeavors.
Tupate rehabilitation ambazo ziko under government, ambazo zinalipishwa bei kidogo, ili mwananchi wa kawaida aweze kupata nafasi ya kusaidikia mahali pale.
Her journey serves as a beacon of hope for those silently battling addiction. Joan Junge for Lunchtime News.
Thank you, Joanne. Now, the Ainamoi constituency member of parliament, Benjamin Langat, has directed that all students in his constituency who did their Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination and have not joined Form 1 due to lack of fees to enroll immediately, assuring that all will get bursaries. Langat called on chiefs in their respective locations to ensure that no student is left out, assuring that all students in the constituency will be supported. He was speaking at Kinyose Primary School while opening a classroom built by NGCDF. He also raised concerns on rising cases of child labor, calling on those who are using minors for that purpose to allow them to continue with their education.
Shule, umesikia wanajibu? Na kama kuna principal hapa yote, watoto karibisha mtoto kwanza. Mtoto kuingia form 1 na maneno ya school fees ni mambo tofauti. Mambo ya school fees ni tofauti. Wacha mtoto asome kwanza, sisi tutakuja kuongea maneno ya school fees. Mtu hapa mzazi unaajiri mtoto ambaye is supposed to go to school. Unaajiri mtoto mdogo achunge mtoto. Unaajiri mtoto mdogo achunge ng'ombe. Wewe ni adui kwa Mungu, sio mimi. You can be my friend, but kwa Mungu wewe ni adui. Because unapoteza mtoto wa Kenya. Wacha mtoto afanye nini? Wacha watoto wote wafanye nini? Wasome.
It was a moment of joy for a family in Oruba Village, Suna West Sub-County, Migori County, after their daughter, who separated and went away with her mother in 1992, came back home. 32-year-old Benta Akoth made the journey from Mombasa to Migori, where her family warmly received her. She now plans to take some of her family members to Mombasa to visit the grave of her mother, who passed away in 2006.
When Benta Akoth and her mother went away in 1992, her father Joseph Ocheng was only left with hopes that one day they will come back home. She says after her mother passed away in 2006, she was left an orphan in Mombasa, and she constantly resisted calls from various individuals who claimed to be her long-lost relatives.
Nilisema kwenye roho yangu, nimeamua kutafuta familia yangu, na mtu yote mwenye atajitokeza, awe ni mdosi, awe ni tajiri, mimi sitajali. Mimi familia yangu kama ni maskini, nitaipokea hivyo hivyo. Uzuri pia nawajua majina na ndio maana nimewapokea kama vile walivyo. Siwezi kwenda kwa familia nyingine wakati mimi mwenyewe najua nimetoka kwa familia fulani.
She also kept the hopes of one day reuniting with a real family. Her excited father Joseph Ochieng says although his wife died and was buried in Mombasa in 2006 without his knowledge, their reunion with his daughter is an answered prayer.
Nimefurahi kuona mtoto yangu amerudi, na mama yake aliniwacha akatoroka na hao wangali wadogo. Mpaka saa hii ndio nimemwona leo. Nilibaki na huyu.
A delighted Akoth now plans to take her family members to visit the grave of her mother in Mombasa. Tilio Marco for Lunchtime News.
A somber mood engulfed Murang'a mortuary as bodies of 3 Catholic Women Association members and a driver of their vehicle who died in an accident at Marina Village in Nyahururu over the weekend arrived awaiting burial. The bodies aboard a Murang'a County Government ambulance were received by Murang'a Catholic Diocese clergy led by the Vicar General Reverend Father Charles Kibe, congregants and family members. The Vicar General passed a message of condolences from the dioceses of Murang'a, Nyeri, Nyahururu and Kitui. Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. We are taking our first commercial break. We'll be back with more news, including business and sports. Stay with us.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Machinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with our music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Machinani, Radani Talent.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome to Channel 1 Business News. Employees at Ashton Mombasa Apparel EPZ have resumed work after a tripartite team resolved issues that had threatened stoppage of work at the Changamwe and Jomvu manufacturing units. Ashton Mombasa Apparel Administration Manager Abiza Lokwandala welcomed action from representatives of the Ministry of Labour, the union and the company and called upon employees to resume their duties immediately. He says any remaining welfare issues are being addressed while work continue uninterrupted.
Yes. And you have a proper channel, yes, as with the blessings of Reverend Cherry. Yes. But if you would want to approach me, yes, my doors are always.
Parties have agreed that employees on strike who have valid contract should resume duties unconditionally and that there shall be no victimization.
Digital online insurance platform MTech has partnered with real estate platform Buy Rent Kenya to offer insurance covers for homeowners as the affordable housing program accelerates in Kenya. Under the partnership, GA Insurance will be the underwriter for the home products through MTech.
The 2022 Insurance Industry Market Report by the Association of Kenya Insurers shows that majority of consumers prefer insurance services offered digitally, avoiding the need to wait for assistance from customer service across various functions such as policy purchase, management, claim settlement, claims processing, and more. Insurance penetration in Kenya remains low at 2.2%. MTech, in partnership with Buy Rent Kenya, seeks to improve this through home insurance products offered digitally.
And as a platform as a service, we believe in integration and aggregation. So this partnership is actually straight down our alley, where we are connecting the ecosystem, Buy Rent Kenya, who has access to the market, and obviously the underwriter, GA, who has the right product, which we are looking to provide to the right person at the right time. You're able to secure your home belongings, the infrastructure of your home, domestic insurance at a click of the button. And it's very affordable, from as low as 8,000 shillings per year.
Underwritten by GA Insurance, the offering seeks to leverage technology to streamline the insurance process and enhance accessibility, as well as foster innovation and digitization in the insurance industry.
So we believe that customers will be excited with the straightforwardness of it, and it will encourage them to buy insurance more.
Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
Across the borders, a high court in Uganda has ruled that contracts executed through WhatsApp are valid and enforceable. The ruling was made after a doctor sued a private hospital and another doctor sued for non-payment, arguing that the deal to offer part-time medical services was struck on WhatsApp. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines in Africa.
In the case, a doctor in Uganda sued a private hospital and another doctor, seeking a declaration that they were in breach of an agreement they made on WhatsApp with the defendants for the provision of part-time medical services. The doctor complained he was not paid per their agreement, and the contention was whether such a contract was valid. But in its ruling, a high court in Uganda outlined that the WhatsApp messages indicate that there was an offer made which was accepted and that the services were provided, therefore there was a contract. The judge said that under Uganda's Contracts Act, a contract is in writing where it is in the form of a data message accessible in a manner usable for subsequent reference and otherwise in words. Meanwhile, coal producer Seriti Resources has started building South Africa's largest wind farm as the country's mining industry seeks to cut its reliance on troubled state-owned power utility AFCON. The 155-megawatt wind farm, 20 kilometers from Seriti's new Denmark mine, will help create as many as 800 jobs. The Seriti unit plans to build an infrastructure capable of providing 900 megawatts of green energy in coming years. Finally, Malawi's Competition and Fair Trading Commission has threatened to take action against any individual or company found hoarding or charging higher prices for sugar, which has now become scarce on the market. This follows sugar scarcity in the market, which has resulted in the skyrocketing of prices. The Commission says some suppliers are hoarding sugar at distributor level and are pricing it exorbitantly beyond the recommended retail price. This comes amid claims that some companies which were contracted to distribute sugar from Ilovo Sugar Malawi to markets hide the commodity in their warehouses, leading to scarcity of sugar in the market.
The Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Technology is this afternoon holding a meeting with a section of experts in the world of IT. This as they discuss matters on artificial intelligence, among other emerging technologies. Let's cross over and listen in.
In the last 4 years, especially since certain governments have been criticizing us or accusing us of things that we believe are unfounded. No one in the world is inspected more carefully than we are. The slightest slip-up, I think, is front-page news. So we have to make sure we don't even have the slightest of slip-ups. There's many partnerships and many labs. I won't go into the details here. The next two slides, maybe I don't need to go into it now, is about talking about AI. I think you heard this morning about from other experts on AI. We also take it very, very importantly. We know AI is a very rapidly evolving field. For us, AI is twofold. One is AI inside our products to make them work better, so we can detect faults before they happen, and then hopefully repair them or prevent faults. And the second, of course, is AI for users. If you are using the Gonza data center, can the government there use some AI solutions from Huawei to add more functionality to that data center, for example? So it's both within our products and it's also for our customers to use as well. The last couple of slides I go through rapidly on page 10 was just to explain a little bit our perspective globally on cybersecurity and privacy. So the first slide, the one that has a comparison between the traffic industry and, say, the telecoms industry, and just to examine the roles and responsibilities of different stakeholders. Just like in traffic industry, where, of course, you have regulators, you have car manufacturers, you have car drivers, you have pedestrians, and then you have maybe industry associations. You have the same in the telecoms industry as well. Each have their role to play. As much as you have regulators, you have the telecom vendors like ourselves and our competitors. You have the telecom networks like a Safaricom or Telcom or Airtel or Liquid or whatever. You also have the users of those networks, and then you have the industry associations, for example. All of those have a role to play. You can't blame a vendor like us. You can't blame a network operator per se. You can't blame a regulator per se. You also have to involve the users as well and the consumers who would be using passwords, phishing attacks, and so on and so forth. I just want to touch on one other thing before I finish, which is the top of the page 11. We really believe in the importance of industry standards. We believe where everyone can agree on standards, both regulators, vendors like ourselves, and our customers like a Safaricom or whatever. A standard is something that can be scientifically developed based on technical standards and independently tested as well. So you know if it's meeting the standard or not meeting the standard. For us, I think that's very, very important. It's not just based on somebody deciding something is safe or not safe. And it means everyone can agree on a common standard and work out their roles and responsibilities. So recently we've been paying a lot of attention to something called NESAS, the Network Equipment Security Assurance Standard, which is now becoming the gold standard for mobile networks around the world for cybersecurity. And we make sure all our equipment meets that standard. And you can see many actually governments and regulators around the world are also adopting that standard as a requirement for vendors in their network. So Nigeria, for example, is actually the one in sub-Saharan Africa, but also Tunisia and Egypt have also been recommending that standard to be used, and we also will meet that standard. Maybe I'll stop there. The other slides you can peruse at your leisure. Talk a bit about data protection and the importance, I think, of understanding the importance of data, obviously the value of data, and the compromise and balance of how data is used by different people for their human rights, but also, of course, the economic potential of data and social potential. But I'll let you read those later because I think time is not on our side. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you for that submission, and I hope this submission you can also send in soft copy, because even as we read, we are struggling to read. Yes. So if it comes in soft copy, we can be able to peruse and enlarge. Members, we have time now for comments, questions. And as we go to comments and questions, I have two. From that submission, you talked about smart devices, and I know the government is looking at affordable smartphones. And way smartphones are too expensive. What is your contribution towards that? Two, equally, you have talked about remote areas and connectivity.
Huawei officials addressing the ICT Committee on issues emerging on technologies. This as we also expect Google Africa to face the Committee on ICT this afternoon on matters artificial intelligence and other technologies that are emerging in the world. Now, in the corporate briefs, coast seafarers have raised concerns over the slow pace of blue economy projects in Mombasa County, thus depriving the youths of employment opportunities. Here now are the details of this and other stories in the briefs.
The leaders say investment efforts by the state in the blue economy sector may only remain a dream if the projects are not completed in good time.
Basi tunaamini kwamba Kenya kama inaweza kuendelea katika mambo ya blue economy, lazima iweke vitu msingi, na vitu vya msingi ni kwamba inunue meli ambazo zinaweza kufanya.
They are now calling for the reintroduction of government-led recruitment of seafarers like the one conducted in 2022, where more than 5,000 Kenyans were recruited to shipping lines. They also want construction of the multi-billion Liwatoni fish processing plant fast-tracked.
Hii blue economy ndio kitega uchumi chetu, na tangu mambo yaanzishwe tunaona kwamba mambo mengi sana yanazama hapa machoni mwetu, na ni kama mikono yetu imefungwa, hatuna la kufanya. Kwa hivyo kilio hiki chetu leo kinamwendea Rais William Ruto. Kwa nini kuna miradi mingi sana imekwama?
Meanwhile, the Eco-Business Fund has extended an 800 million shillings loan to Family Bank for onward lending to sustainability-certified companies, smallholder farmers, and other agribusiness value chain actors embracing eco-friendly and climate-smart approaches. The financing is dedicated to promoting sustainable use of natural resources, biodiversity preservation, and climate change adaptation across agricultural value chains in Kenya. Family Bank CEO designate Nancy Jau says the investment aims to establish a consistent demand from developed markets and steer local producers towards more sustainable production methods. She says the partnership with the Eco-Business Fund has enabled Family Bank to increase by 25% its agribusiness portfolio. Edna Murungi for Lunchtime News.
Investors planning to set up shop in the country will need to prove their investment viability before being licensed. Kenya Investment Authority Managing Director June Chipkemei says this is among proposals in the Investment Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2023 that seeks to streamline investments and align them with the government's economic agenda.
We have what we call the Kenya Investment Policy. This policy has looked at many things, including protecting your investment, ensuring that you are liberalized the economy, allowing you as an investor to have certain right, to have certain control, to be able to repatriate your health, and to guarantee the safety, security of your investment. We want to empower county investment agencies and corporations within the counties for them to do what they are doing. We want to recognize in our law also different entities, among them entities like Jumuiya ya Pwani and the rest, so that they can legally function.
Oil marketers will now receive their test results in less than 6 hours following enhanced laboratory capabilities at Kenya Pipeline Company during the handing over of the secondary accreditation of the ISO standard. Kenya Pipeline Managing Director Joe Sang said increased efficiency would position Kenya as a key transport hub in the region and enable the transporter to become a more reliable supplier of safe and ample petroleum products.
It takes at least 24 hours to assess the quality and composition of various petroleum products such as Jet A1 and ground fuels at Kenya Pipeline Company to ensure they meet specified standards. The long waiting period for the results affects supply chain management for oil marketers. Kenya Pipeline Company says it has invested 200 million shillings in upgrading laboratories across its 7 depots to improve service delivery.
We've been testing products outside our depots with SGS. Normally takes 24 hours. With this accreditation, we'll be able to take only 6 hours. And our oil marketers will be able to test products at their point of their convenience.
The accreditation that we are granting is a second time reaccreditation of Kenya Pipeline.
and very special in the fact that they've expanded the number of sites. So they become the largest multi-site accredited laboratory in Eastern Africa.
Following the ISO 17025 2017 standard accreditation by Kenya Accreditation Service of the labs, they say it will save them millions of shillings spent annually outsourcing the laboratory services and reduce the overall turnaround period.
Accrediting KPC will go a long way in enhancing our efficiency and effectiveness, our competencies in terms of the use of the laboratories, and we are happy that they have put us at a global level.
The attainment of ISO 17025 accreditation against the 2017 edition of the standard, as well as is portion of that reaccreditation, places them among 70,000 globally recognized laboratories worldwide.
This service will be available from where we have our lab in Mombasa all the way to Kisumu, Eldoret. So that flexibility will also, it's an ease of doing business with our oil marketers.
Kenya Pipeline will also commercialize its labs. Trevor Ngendo for Lunchtime News.
Across the globe, Toyota has reported higher third-quarter net profit as an easing semiconductor shortage and strong demand drove up sales. The Japanese car maker said its December quarter net profit increased 87% from a year earlier to 1.358 trillion yen. Here now are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the world.
For the fiscal year ending March, Toyota projects that net profit would climb 84% to 4.5 trillion yen compared with its previous expectation of a 61% increase. Third quarter revenue increased 23% from a year earlier to 12.04 trillion yen as sales grew in North America and Europe. The world's largest car maker set a new sales record in 2023 as it recovered from a pandemic-driven slump and a global chip shortage. It sold 11.2 million vehicles globally last year, beating its previous high of 10.7 million units in 2019. Elsewhere, Singaporean banks are set to post higher profits for the fourth quarter due to the higher interest rates, though growth momentum is poised to slow as big central banks pivot toward rate cuts and volatile markets weigh on their mainstream wealth business. The banks are also expected to see sharper scrutiny of their wealth management business as a result of a $2.2 billion money laundering scandal that hit the Southeast Asia city-state last year, affecting the flow of assets. Finally, China has set up overseas guest payment service centers as its two major airports in Beijing to enhance payment options for international visitors. Demonstration zones have been established at Beijing Capital International Airport and Beijing Daxing International Airport. The zones aim to cater to the diverse needs of overseas visitors for payment services. Global passengers can scan QR codes to pay via various channels, including payment apps like Alipay and WeChat, or cards like Visa and MasterCard, while inbound travelers from countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and South Korea can use their local e-wallet.
Welcome to Channel 1 Sports. Nigeria star Victor Osimhen is amid doubts ahead of their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations semi-final clash against South Africa's Bafana Bafana in Bauake on Wednesday. The Napoli striker did not fly with the rest of the squad to Bauake on Monday due to abdominal discomfort. The semi-final matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations.
The reigning African Player of the Year did not train on Monday evening before the team's departure from Abidjan. Osimhen was substituted last in the quarter-final against Angola last weekend. Meanwhile, Bafana must go without Thapelo Maseko, who was forced off against Blue Sharks of Cape Verde in the 114th minute with a hamstring injury. South Africa head coach Hugo Broos believes his team are hungry to succeed as they go in search of their first ever African Cup of Nations victory over Nigeria. Host Ivory Coast have a realistic chance of bagging a third AFCON title, this time in front of their home fans. The Elephants must first get through DR Congo on Wednesday night. The semi-final matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations. For Lunchtime News, I'm Sela Onyango.
Over 500 participants comprising of professionals, amateur and leisure cyclists took part in the first leg of the 2024 Loop Gravel Cycling Safari Series held at Tatu City. The event, organized by Amani Project, aims to promote cycling as a sport and position the country as a top cycling destination.
20 kilometers category, Jordan Shelek took a time of 4 hours, 3 minutes and 27 seconds to emerge victorious ahead of Seth Hakizimana and Eric Muhosa, who completed the podium dash. In the 60 kilometers category, Raymond Mushiri and Trisam Brine of Team Biskeli Adventures emerged champions, beating a field of 158 cyclists who registered for the category.
It feels very nice, to be out there trying to challenge, some good athletes locally. It's really nice, It's an honor to be here as well.
Mushiri finished in the first, clocking 2 hours, 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Team Amani is a team of East African cyclists. We try to put a dream team together of the best riders from the region, send them around the world to, show the world of cycling what East Africa is all about.
In the 20-kilometer category, Alvin Minor of Team Joy Riders clocked 1 hour, 6 minutes and 23 seconds to bag the title, beating fellow teammates Dennis Joguna and Hali Manji to the second and third positions respectively. The winners in the elite category pocketed 100,000 shillings, with the team winners walking away with 250 Kenya shillings.
Mzuzi basketball team are the winners of the inaugural Unity Homes Basketball Championship after beating Thika Wolves 48-28 in the final played at Tatu City. En route to the final, Thika Wolves registered a 44-30 win over Membli Basketball, while Mzuzi humbled Ruaka Sacred Hearts 41-34. In the final, Mzuzi dominated all quarters, easily seeing off Thika Wolves 48-28. Some of the participating teams included Unity East, Unity West, Runda Ridge, Tinganga Titans, Ruaka Hearts, Membli, Tingidhia Sharks, Ruiru Kwetu, Thika Wolves and Mzuzi. The teams were from Nairobi and Kiambu counties.
Turnout, and we hope to attract more teams in the next edition and see the growth of basketball in Kiambu County.
I think it's by passion that we play the basketball game, and if we find support from these guys in power, I think the game can go much, much higher.
Manchester City moved into second place in the English Premier League, 2 points behind leaders Liverpool, as Phil Foden's hat-trick helped them register a convincing 3-1 win at Brentford. City can go now top with victory over Everton at Etihad Stadium on Saturday.
Goes to Alvarez. Oh, good shot. Fleck. Oh, Foden! 2-1. Goal either side of half-time for Foden since the derby when they won 6-3.
Emma Raducanu claimed a straight set win over Marie Bokova to set up a second-round match with Ons Jabeur at Abu Dhabi Open. The 21-year-old Briton fought back from a breakdown in the opening set before dominating the second to win 6-4, 6-1. Raducanu missed the final 8 months of last season following a wrist and ankle surgeries. She made her Grand Slam return at last month's Australian Open, losing in the second round to China's Wang Yafan. a wild card recipient in Abu Dhabi, Raducanu, will continue with her comeback from injury when she faces Tunisia's Dubair, a two-time Wimbledon finalist and world number 6 in the next round.
As good as that scoreline suggests, against a player who's made a decent start to the season and played well today, but it's a first victory over a top 100 player for Emma Raducanu in 11 months. And boy, that was impressive.
And on that note, we have come to the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. For more details, do log on to www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Irene Muchuma Udim. On sign language interpretation, we have Anu Wangeshi. On behalf of the entire team, good afternoon.
怎么办？我睡不着啊。你已经2天没好好睡觉了。
这些装置到现在本身也该做补偿修整了。
确实是，所以现在大部分工程师想暂停反映黑箱的工作。这是故障列表和代码。
就去抓他呀！你说所有跟他接触的人都自杀了，那是他杀的吗？你证明不了，你没证据。